Chargers let it be known they called Eli Manning's agent, Tom Condon, last week to open negotiations with his client, and the response was, in essence, no.
I will confirm what the Chargers said last night. I will admit I was a little surprised that they went public with that.
Will you be happy if the Chargers end up picking him on Saturday? Happy?
No. No. As far as reasons why, I'm not going to go there.
The 2004 NFL Draft was a media event like never before. The television ratings were 25% higher than 2003 and closing in on beating the NBA playoffs. 6 of the top picks were invited to New York.
I still like Eli. I still like it.
For the first time, cameras captured their every move.
All right, can we get that?
Some of the footage has never been seen until now.
#1 overall pick on D-Hall TV.
Yeah, come on, man. We did a total access.
I don't want to go to San Diego, too.
You couldn't get it right.
The Chargers had the #1 overall pick. They were anticipating drafting and signing Mississippi quarterback Eli Manning when discussions with the Manning camp took an unexpected turn.
Well, initially, you know, it was fine, great, and everything, and then just prior to the draft, we heard that there was a decision made by, I believe, Archie Manning that he didn't want Eli to come to San Diego.
Eli, all these reports that you, if the Chargers pick you, that you're prepared to sit out the season. Can you just discuss that?
You know, I've made all, you know, we've made all our comments. My dad is, you know, he's going over this. He's you know, he said everything that, you know, we've talked about, and you know, everything's been said, and now, you know, it's kind of over with, and I just got to sit and wait and see what happens.
You know, obviously there was a question as to why, but nobody ever seemed to get an answer.
You know, we've talked about all this and made our comments already, and you know, we're sticking to it.
The speculation was the Mannings were trying to convince San Diego to trade Eli to the New York Giants.
You know, that whole wanting to go to New York got a little misunderstood. It was never wanting to go to New York. There was just, I didn't want to go to one place. I won't say the place, and I don't want to bring up old stories, but there was one place I didn't want to go to, and that was it.
The day before the draft, Eli tried to lay low. The other top projected picks hoped to get a rise out of him.
I can't handle this big city life, getting a big boy.
Tell him your quote one more time.
I'd gladly play in San Diego.
He's trying not to smile. Sorry, we finally got a smile out of him once this weekend.
I didn't know A.J. Smith, who was the San Diego general manager, so all I said to him, this is even before Eli made any statement or his agent did, if you're interested in trading out of there, I would be interested. We were 4. We didn't have a long way to go. We were within striking distance. But I didn't have any feeling that we were going to be able to get it done. And you know, I had a good fallback position because for me it was Roethlisberger. Rivers was good too, but we had Roethlisberger rated 2nd. It wasn't a panic situation for us. I wanted a franchise quarterback, and I figured either way we're going to get one.
Ernie had studied Eli for his entire collegiate career, and he was absolutely confident that Eli's makeup, his personality, his coolness under fire, what he'd accomplished with less as a collegiate quarterback were the ingredients that were necessary for the Giants to go forth and win.
Ben Roethlisberger.
There were other good quarterbacks. Ben has proven to be an exceptional player, and as we sat there, it full well looked as if things would fall to that position for us.
Tom Coughlin calls the night before and says, it doesn't look like this trade's going to be made, and it looks like Ben's our guy. If things sit where they are right now, I think New York will just take you, and that'd be an awesome thing for us. But you and I had talked about and anticipated the fact that Manning would try to get himself somehow to New York. His agents and he want to be in New York for the marketing and all the opportunities. And They don't want to be in San Diego. So now what happens is the reaction of San Diego going to be, well, look, we're going to take you anyway? Or are they going to try and trade out of that position? If they trade out of the position, it's going to be for Philip Rivers. That's not wonderful for us.
Philip Rivers from North Carolina State rocketed late up the draft charts. His stock was boosted by his appearance in the Senior Bowl, coached by the San Diego Chargers staff.
I was able to play for them for that week, practice for them. They got to see a little bit how I led in the huddle, how I prepared. So I knew San Diego was a team that had an interest. I didn't know how that would shake out because they had the #1 pick. The New York Giants I worked out for. To me, that was the least of the teams that were interested in the Pittsburgh Steelers. At 11, I felt like, honestly, that's where I was going.
Why don't you want to play for the Chargers?
You know, we're not really giving details right now. We just, we've made our decision, and that's what we're sticking to.
Who's influenced you the most?
You know, just it's not really an influence. This was my decision. It was, you know, I wanted to do this. I was not, you know, told to do this. We talked about it, and I thought it was the best idea, so I went with it.
The Chargers call your name when I talk to you after the pick. Will you be wearing a Chargers hat?
You know, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Good luck, guys. Thanks.
With the first choice in the 2004 NFL Draft, the San Diego Chargers select Eli Manning, cornerback, Mississippi.
You see now, he's getting booed all over the country.
Well, that's what's happened with this scenario here, and that's why Archie hastens, because what's happened is that now Eli is a villain.
Eli Manning's position was not unprecedented. 21 years earlier, John Elway was drafted first overall by the Colts and threatened not to sign. The Colts general manager at the time was Ernie Accorsi. Now, Accorsi was with the Giants, and again, he was looking for a quarterback.
I almost pulled the trigger on a trade to go to 7th with Cleveland, figuring we're not going to get Eli now. We might as well go to 7th because I'm pretty sure we can get Roethlisberger. But at the last second, I heard a rumor that Cleveland was trying to get within closer striking distance to get Eli. It hit me that if I enabled Cleveland to get him, and if I would have stayed there, maybe I would have gotten them. I couldn't live with myself. So I said, no, I'm not going to make this trade. I'll just sit there. If we don't make the trade, I pick Roethlisberger. It's that simple.
The New York Giants are now on the clock.
All right, guys. Guess what? We're in play. It looks like he's locked in number 4. Ben will be going to New York on the 4th pick. Only wait.
The Giants confirmed to us from their draft room that if Philip Rivers, the quarterback from North Carolina State, was sitting at number 4, there would be discussions with the San Diego Chargers that the Giants would take Rivers and then swap quarterbacks with the Chargers.
But 6 minutes in, there was nothing. No pick, no trade, not even a phone call between A.J. Smith of the Chargers and Accorsi of the Giants.
Ernie, to this day, will tell you that I was not going to place the call, because if I place the call, that means that he has all the leverage.
Almost at the 7-minute mark exactly, A.J. called, and he asked for another player. I was not giving up a pass rusher.
If we didn't get the value we wanted in the trade, we weren't going to do it. And, Eli surely could have elected to sit out for the season, or he could have played, but we were prepared either way.
In the final seconds, a deal was struck, but none of the affected players knew what it was.
With the 4th pick in the 2004 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Philip Rivers, quarterback, North Carolina State.
When everybody else heard it for the first time, I heard it for the first time. So we were excited. We didn't know how to act, because it was kind of like, is this real? I hadn't heard from anyone. Usually you get the phone call from the team to kind of let you know, hey, we're taking you. I never got that call from the Giants. To this day, I never spoke to anyone. I just knew and felt I was 3rd on their list. But yet at the same time, you wanted to show respect to the Giants. I mean, you know, shoot, the New York Giants just selected the 4th pick of the whole draft. About that time, I had to do an interview with ESPN.
What have you been hearing? What are the teams telling you?
Well, I hadn't gotten a call yet from anybody. I'm just excited, you know, as of right now to be a Giant, and I don't know how everything's going to play out, but I'll be excited to see what happens.
How I found out I was traded to the Giants is I was kind of walking from interview to interview. I saw a little kid just bust through the door. He goes, "Manning's been traded to the Giants." I go, "Is that true? Can anybody, you know, follow this up? Is this real, or is this kid just saying it?"
San Diego Chargers and the New York Giants have exchanged their draft picks. Eli Manning and Phillip Rivers.
It's real.
AJ, you said you needed a blockbuster trade for this to happen, to get out of that first slot. What took the deal so long?
Well, we had some dialogue, and it just didn't work out, and I'll just leave it at that. The deal maker was just when the New York Giants kind of surprised us and took Phillip Rivers, a little dialogue took place, and it came together.
Well, we really never had any discussions. Okay. We only had a discussion when they, you know, we decided to pick Rivers, and we had our reasons, you know, you know, sure, we thought maybe, you know, possibly that could interest some clubs. They told me they wanted Rivers. I picked Rivers, but I wouldn't have picked Rivers had I not made the trade. So I took a chance. I mean, I didn't know A.J. real well, but I trusted him, and he lived up to his word. So once I picked Rivers, then I was allowed to make the trade Rivers for Manning. But he could have backed out. I couldn't go to the league and say, wait a minute, he broke a promise. Because what they did, they won't sanction what I did. I mean, it wasn't illegal, but if you want to go, you pick the player. You cannot pick a player for another team. That's not permitted. People still don't understand because they say I drafted Rivers. You know, and I did, literally, but it was Roethlisberger who was the player that we would have picked.
Could you believe Phillip Rivers would actually be the 4th pick in the draft?
And Ben Roethlisberger was still without a team.
The problem with the draft is that time in between picks is not experienced as real time.
How much time is there on the clock?
8 minutes. It's Chinese water torture time. Drip, drip, drip.
Washington Redskins select Sean Taylor.
Every second seems like a minute. Every minute seems like an hour. Especially sitting in New York under the hot glare of those lights.
The Cleveland Browns select Kellen Winslow.
I know people made a big deal about Aaron Rodgers sitting there till whatever pick he was. I was kind of that first one that was sitting in the room by myself for a long time.
The Detroit Lions select Roy Williams.
At some point, you're like, man, I just want to get picked so I can get out of here and go hang out with my family and do something else.
Atlanta Falcons select D'Angelo Hall.
Tick, tick, tick.
Jacksonville Jaguars select Reggie Williams.
Tick, tick, tick.
The Houston Texans select Dante Robinson.
Eventually we get to Pittsburgh.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are now on the clock.
This is the first spot that to me has been possible for you to go in since we passed the Giants.
Yeah. The Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock. Roethlisberger could sit, learn behind a Maddox.
Well, and Chris, as you say that, the phone rings right here, and Ben's agent Lee Steinberg is on the phone.
Steelers.
And it happens to be the Steelers.
Hello. Yes. Hey, Coach. Absolutely. All right, Coach, thanks. Take care.
What's the deal?
It's good. Let's turn it in right now.
Yeah!
Pittsburgh was the only team that I visited. You know, I think things worked out for me, and everything happens for a reason.
Go Steelers!
Man, go Steelers!
We're very, very proud of all you've done, and I know all you're going to do. We all wish you the best, and we will all be there for you, no matter what comes, the good and the bad, because both will be coming. But we'll be there for you. So,
and I thank you all too, everybody. Thank you so much.